What up, s'mores? I'm Shannon Morse. Welcome to my YouTube channel all about travel and technology. Today was pretty exciting. This morning I woke up and the first thing we saw was a stream made by Google, and this was introducing all of the brand new products that Google will be coming out with within the next few months. Of course, the one thing that everybody was excited about is the Google Pixel 4 and the 4 XL, which had a ton of leaks and spoilers for the last couple of months. I chose to kind of step away from all of the spoilers, and while I did see them and I read them, I didn't want to announce any of them on my own channels just in case they were just rumors that ended up not being true. I didn't want to spread false information. But now that we have heard the announcement from Google, I wanted to go ahead and give you my impressions from the event that happened earlier today. Now, October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so I teamed up with CrashPlan for small business to give you a whole series of videos. Ransomware is a very current and a very hot topic this year. We have seen a bunch of ransomware attacks happen against different cities and different organizations, and it's something that you should be concerned about, especially if you have a small business. Protecting your data needs to be a top priority. It is for me. If I lost all of my data all of a sudden, I would not be able to make my shows for you each and every day like I do. That's why I'm happy to tell you about CrashPlan and what they can offer you and your small business. CrashPlan offers peace of mind with tons of features built into their cloud-based data protection service. Data can be stored with no restriction on file size and no additional charges for space. So if you have a network attached storage device, or if you have a bunch of external hard drives, all of those can be backed up as well. Backups are continuous in the background with customized file retention options that can fit your needs, and they use 256-bit AES data encryption at rest, which is super important, and they support HIPAA compliance needs. CrashPlan is compatible on file servers on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and you can cancel anytime. The plans cost $10 monthly per device, and it doesn't matter if you are storing 2 terabytes of data or just 100 gigs of data. Doesn't matter, all of those are $10 per device, that's it. So if you are interested in securing your data in the cloud, sign up using the link below for a 1-month free trial. Do not let ransomware hold your data hostage. Make a plan with CrashPlan, and I want to thank CrashPlan so much for their support of my channel and of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Now on to all of those announcements from the Made by Google event. First off, we got a little bit of information about updates going to Google Assistant, and we also got an update on Stadia. So Stadia is Google's new video game platform, which is going to be released on November 19th, which is a day after my birthday, so thank you so much, Google. And we also learned that Stadia is going to be supported on Pixel as well, so you will be able to play video games on your Pixel with the Stadia platform controller. I really wanted to delve into the Pixel Buds 2, which will be released next year. Now, the live stream had a disclaimer about those Pixel Buds 2. It said that they could not be distributed until legal authorization has been obtained, which makes me think that maybe they are waiting on certifications or licensing before they can actually release that new product out into the world. I'm very familiar with how long it takes to manufacture, and I'm very familiar with how long it takes to actually get certifications through the US agencies. So it's entirely possible that they just have to wait until they can actually start announcing and selling that product, but until then, we probably won't see any reviews of the new Pixel Buds 2. So these do come with hands-free assistant access, that's Google Assistant, which is really cool. It's always on, it's listening for, you know, the trigger words, that HEYGOOGLE, I won't say it out loud. They also have long-range Bluetooth built in, so they stay connected up to 3 rooms away or up to 1 football field if you're in the open. They have 5 hours on a single charge, 24 hours via the charging case, so the charging case does have a battery built in. They look to be smaller and much less obtrusive. It does create a sealed ear for bass and for clear highs, and there is this little hole on the bottom. They're calling it a spatial vent for environmental audio, and it also can do dynamically adjusting volume depending on that environment around you, which is pretty cool. Calls apparently will be using beamforming, which means that they should be very clear whenever you are talking, and these are going to cost $179 and release in spring. Now, I am very curious about the comfort on these. I do have a pair of, I think they're Anker Soundcore lights or something like that, but they were less than $100 that I bought, and they are my favorite little Bluetooth earbuds that I use all the time. They're extremely comfortable. So comfort is key for me when it comes to Pixel Buds, and if these aren't comfortable, then I won't be able to recommend them. So I am very curious if they will come with additional sizes for like the little wraps that you can put them in, or if there will be some way to kind of adjust it based on your ear size. I guess we'll have to see, but I am very, very curious about these, and I'm very excited to hear about Google Assistant always on technology in your ears, so you can constantly use them even if your phone is in a completely other room. Now, with any new technology, I am always curious and concerned about security and privacy, and Google did mention that they are continuing to work with the Titan security chip, which is supposed to allow for localized encryption of data, and this includes things from Assistant. You can now delete Assistant data straight from the application, and you can also customize what kind of data it collects. And then we finally got into the first new product that I was extremely interested about, other than the Pixel Buds 2, which was the Pixelbook Go. So the Pixelbook Go comes with a magnesium matte finish in black or not pink. It seems like they took all the cool parts of the original Pixelbook series and they kind of combined those into the Pixelbook Go, and they tried to make it less expensive. It's got a grippy design on the bottom, which looks like it's going to be rubber from the pictures, but I feel like it's not actually going to be. It's 13 millimeters thin, 2 pounds light, and they say it will have 12 hours of battery life in their testing, of course. It also comes with a quiet keyboard with hush keys, Chrome OS as well, and a bunch of different specs that you can choose from. The prices start at $649, and it is up for pre-order, and at that $649 price point, you can get an Intel Core M3. However, they do have other options, including an i5 and an i7. Those all come with either 8 gigs or 16 gigs of RAM and 64, 128, or 256 gigs of storage. The previous line of Pixelbooks did go up to like 512 gigs of SSD storage, so this is a drop. However, it does seem like they increased the battery life at the same time, and they lowered that price point as well. So it might be something really efficient. I am concerned that it might not work with the Pixelbook Pen, even though this one does have a touchscreen as well. I would love to have something that works with the Pixelbook Pen, however, the price point has to really match that. We got a bunch of information regarding Nest products as well. We got an update to the Google Home Mini. The new one is called the Nest Mini. It's 49 bucks. It's going to be released on October 22nd, and it comes in a few different colors. There's a pretty not pink coral color, there's a sky blue color, a black, and a gray. This one has a wall mount. There's no aux support. It's supposed to have more bass, and it also has a third microphone built in for noisy environments. Nest Aware is getting an update, so you can actually get a membership with the Nest products, like your cameras at home, for a cheaper price, which is great. It'll now be $6 a month for all devices with 30-day event video history, or you can do $12 a month for all devices with 60-day event video history and 10 days of 24/7 video history. And they are going to be releasing that in early 2020. Honestly, I'm pretty interested, given the Nest ecosystem I always felt like was pretty expensive for the membership plans, because the more cameras you get, the more you end up having to pay every month. So I am very interested in this flat pricing for however many cameras you have. I wonder if there's a max on how many cameras you can have in a household, but $6 or $12 a month seems much more reasonable to me. So then we had the Nest Wi-Fi, which was also introduced, and this is a mesh router and point combo. They are going to announce partnerships with IoT devices pretty soon, and that potentially means that you wouldn't have to have a hub for those third-party products, since the Nest Wi-Fi would act as the hub for those third-party brands, which is very cool. The Nest Wi-Fi also has a speaker built in, so you can use it with Google Assistant, which is also really cool. But of course, with mesh Wi-Fi router combinations like this, you do end up paying a hefty price tag too. So the 2-pack is $269 and the 3-pack is $349, and those will be released on November 4th. Let's talk about the Pixel 4, which is the last item that they introduced. So there weren't a lot of products that they decided to talk about today, but there were some pretty big names that they really wanted to get out there. So this one is the Pixel 4 and the Pixel 4 XL as well. There's 3 colors, just black, clearly white, and Oh So Orange. Oh So Orange is limited edition, so it's probably just going to be available for a short time. Sabrina Ellis got on stage and she talked about Project Soli, which is basically the radar capabilities. This is the very first smartphone in the world that has has radar built in, and this allows for motion sensing, which is so interesting. It's this teeny tiny chip in the front of the phone, and it's right next to the camera. There's only one camera, more on that in a bit, but this allows for the fastest secure face unlock with this thing called motion sense technology. It also has an always on screen, which senses when you pick it up to start unlocking it, and then it'll power down if you walk away. You can also do things like gestures, so you can skip songs or silence calls. You can wave hello to your Pikachu wallpaper. Apparently that's a thing now. Now with any new sensors, I'm always like, okay, but what about privacy? Well, they did mention the privacy. They said that you can turn it on or off. You have that manual control. They also said that the sensor's data gets processed locally, so it's never sent to any other servers, which I thought was great. The Titan M security chipset still continues to get the highest ratings for security of any smartphone. And they also introduced a new application called Recorder, which sounds like a classic, but this one it's pretty cool. So this can actually transcribe what you're saying in real time so that you end up with a whole like voice dictation of everything that you had said in text format. So you could like export that text, or you can search it and find very specific audio clips from something that you said. And it should work fairly well. Of course, I'm sure that it'll screw up certain words, but it looked pretty accurate when they showed it in live time on stage. I think this is not only super useful for classrooms like they mentioned, but also for bloggers like me, because I don't like writing articles very much, but I do like making videos. So if I can just transcribe my videos as I make them, or after, I could just like listen back to the recording, I could embed my video and then make it into a blog post, and there you go. It would be like super search engine optimized with text so people can find my videos easier. Awesome. A 90 Hertz refresh rate is going into this Pixel 4 and Pixel 4 XL, and it's OLED, and I am so excited about the smoothness that will come with this 90 Hertz screen. It's gonna look so good. And apparently it adjusts itself based on whatever you are watching or doing so that it doesn't drain the battery, because 90 Hertz will drain a battery fairly quickly. So the pre-orders start at $799, and that is for the Pixel 4 version. The Pixel 4 XL is $899, and those start shipping on October 24th. They are coming to all US carriers, which is great. There is no headphone jack. Apparently they also don't include any kind of headphones in the box. They don't even include USB-C headphones, even though it is a USB-C jack on the bottom. There's also no fingerprint sensor, which I find to be extremely odd and a little bit concerning because I don't know if I want to use Face Unlock. There's also no ultra-wide front-facing camera, which I was able to tell from the pictures that they were showing in the stream. Mentioning that camera, computational photography was a big topic, and Mark Lavoie came on stage to talk about that. He called it software-defined camera, which I actually really like that terminology because I have a history of working with software-defined radio, which is basically radio in software. So in a sense, the name software-defined camera totally makes sense. It's basically camera and photography in software, computational photography. They're using code and they're using multiple photos to get one really great photo as the one that is output. HDR Plus is included, and that's a really great example of computational photography, and they also included a 2x telephoto lens on the back. Mark actually mentioned you should compose your photos by pinching to zoom as opposed to cropping after the fact. He said you would get a much better picture if you actually zoom in before you take the photo, which was kind of interesting. They did discuss that concern of why ultra-wide is not included. They said that with SDRs, they usually magnify the scene, they don't shrink them, so ultra-wide seems really cool, but they felt like telephoto was much more important. I don't know if I can get on board with that. I think that they could have totally put both lenses in the back of it and had 3 lenses in the back, ultra wide, normal, and then telephoto, but they didn't. They also didn't include that ultra wide in the front facing camera, and that's something that I use all the time on my Pixel 3 XL, so that's definitely something that I'm concerned about. I mentioned HDR Plus is included. It's not just included, but now you can do live HDR Plus, so while you are kind of composing your photo, you can see the HDR difference before you take the picture. So you can tell exactly what your picture is going to look like before you take it, as opposed to them computationally figuring that out after the fact and you finding out what your picture looks like after you took it. There are dual exposure controls built in for shadows as well as brightness, so you can kind of control what your picture looks like in the end. He also mentioned white balancing is getting better, as well as portrait mode, which is supposed to be getting better. I can't wait to test that against my hair because it constantly blurs my hair and thinks it's a part of the background. So it would be great if I could get very clear strands of hair around my face. Even with my cat, sometimes it gets the fur wrong, so I'm excited to see if portrait mode is better around the cat's fur. Night sight was a huge talking point of the Google event as well. Let's talk about astrophotography. So they're using machine learning and semantic segmentation to brighten faces in HDR+, separate the foreground and the background, and darken and denoise sky, and that includes bringing out the stars. Now they did mention that with astrophotography, you still do have to use a tripod, so I can't wait to take my Peak Design tripod out, which does have a little smartphone holder on it, and use it with this to get some astrophotography. That's going to be so freaking cool. But it still does have a little ways to go. For example, they showed us a picture of a full moon and it was pretty bright to the point where it was kind of blown out, and then the ground in front of it, which was very dark. They mentioned that it's still really hard to get a picture that has a decent dynamic range because a picture like this is 19 f-stops of aperture different from the bright full moon all the way to the really dark ground. They said they can't do it yet, but they also teased as if maybe in the future we will be able to do that. So I'm thinking maybe there'll be some updates to the software. I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. So the cameras do seem to have a lot of awesome updates, but at the same time, they took away something that I use all the time, which is that ultra wide lens. Also, video on this thing only goes up to 4K 30 FPS, and nowadays we are starting to see a lot of smartphones use 60 FPS. I oftentimes feel like the Google phones are a little bit behind on schedule, and perhaps that's just because of the October release date. However, you see other phones on the market released around this time of the year, and all of them seem to be really forward-facing. They have multi-cameras on the back. They have 3 cameras on the back, or even 4 cameras, which is kind of ridiculous. They still have 2 cameras on the front. So I'm not sure if this is going to be an amazing camera. I think it's going to be an amazing smartphone because it's going to be convenient, reliable, and secure. But as far as the camera goes, I'm still really curious about testing it and seeing how well it does compared to the competition that's out right now, especially the iPhone 11. So I should get a Google Pixel 4 review on this YouTube channel, as well as a Pixelbook Go, which I am very excited to check out. I'm very curious how it will work with things like Adobe Rush and Lightroom, because being able to do that kind of editing on the go with a teeny tiny 2-pound device sounds incredible to me. If you have any questions about these devices or concerns that you want to share, or anything that you want me to really cover during those reviews, definitely leave those comments down below and I will try my best to make sure that I answer those for the review. And don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends as well if you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed this coverage of the Google event. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I truly love the community here. I think it's awesome that we have such a good community because not every YouTuber does. And I love the fact that everyone here is so thoughtful and super nice and really passionate about technology and travel just like I am. So I really love our community. I think it's cool. Y'all are great. Thank you for being wonderful people. I appreciate you. Thank you so much to my s'mores. I'm Shannon Morse, and I will see you next week with a new video. Bye.